All I have in my head is a song, Red Dirt Girl. Red Dirt Girl is it's a beautiful song about a young girl that only lived to the age of 27 and never got out of her county. It was a poor county and just never got out. Let's see. Are these working? Not working? No, not working. Speaking. No. Try again. Yeah. Let me see. Can I have another one? Okay. Channel 2. Hello. Yeah. Speaking. You got to repeat speaking. Yeah, speaking. Yeah. Yeah. Trickling in. Yeah. The last drops of water trickling in. Yeah. Yeah, the last drops are about the best. Yeah. You know, there are some evenings and some nights, and sometimes in the middle of the day, sometimes in the early morning, and sometimes even at 4 o'clock in the morning, phone calls come in from all, sometimes the Philippines, sometimes even Hong Kong, the island Reunion, and all over Europe. And sometimes they're from young teenagers, sometimes the age of 13, and sometimes the age of 19, and sometimes the age of 29, and sometimes even the age of 72. Phone calls about their mother, their father, and sometimes a friend, a boyfriend, a girlfriend. And sometimes it's about school or business or their boss. Or sometimes about a coworker or something happened in the streets. And trying to make sense of it. The things that happen to us, and trying to fix things, or trying to find a direction. They could find a little more what they call success. So many unusual phone calls, and sometimes even at the age of 7. That a little boy or little girl will call and speak about the parents, how they don't understand that little one. The minds of so many people, and that includes all of us, I really don't think any human being basically escapes any of this. Communication is something to really behold and to understand. And the one thing that I find is that we easily find an attitude, or we always trying to find a way and a means to paint a picture, to make it right, or to make it as we see what it is. Parents don't basically teach us how to really understand really what is this mind of ours, and what is the mind. Not just my child's mind, but really, what is the mind? And little kids and teenagers and those even well in their 60s and 70s, how we easily get by and we find ourselves very successful. It is because we made actually the hour, we completed the hour, and we completed the day. So many days we have completed. In essence, we have been successful. Whether we had a bad day or a good day, we find ourselves successful. Mainly because we made it. We finished off the given day. But we walk into our nights, we walk into so many nights without even thinking about it, and we just go right to sleep. Somehow we try to forget about it, and somehow we're hoping that the next day it will come to fruition, that things will work out. But it's really that given night at the end of the day to really pay very, very close attention to. It is really at the end of the day, that given night. It was you who literally painted the world as you saw it. It was literally you that painted the world as you felt it, and as you sensed it, and as it treated you. And we have our interpretations of what we think it is, or what happened, or what a person said. And the most astonishing thing that I have come across, and it's taken so many years, and actually a decade and a half, to really have a better understanding of it, that every word that has been said through this mouth in the last 20 years, everybody hears it differently. Everybody hears it so differently. Everybody interprets whatever it is that I say, a sentence or a word, very, very differently. And when I go up to the person to ask them, and then go up to another person and another person and another person, I get very different answers. And we don't think that happens. But that's what really, really happens. We can only hear with whatever the capacity of our hearing has allowed us to hear. We can only take in the words, or whatever words has really been learned as we grew up. Because so many words that we have learned under trauma, stress, or fear, they're totally misinterpreted inside of you because the words got crooked. The sound waves literally that were so soft, that had these particular sine waves, they got crooked and tied up in little knots, and then they went inside your brain. And those words never really acquired the right definition of what it is in the Oxford Dictionary, in the American Dictionary, or the German Dictionary. They literally got twisted. And we don't know that. The little ones don't know this. The teenagers and the adults don't know this. They just assume that everybody understands it, the same word. And even when it comes to laughter and jokes too, how so many people literally sees it and hears it quite differently because of how those particular sound waves have literally dived into those beautiful little ears of yours. So ancient those ears are inside. They're older. These ears are much older than all the species that have been roaming this planet for the last 10,000 years. We literally inherited the art to hear, probably long before even the dinosaurs was even there. That the art of hearing and to understand sound waves. We do when it comes to science. We do when it comes to all these satellites up above. It is because the scientists paid very close attention to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And actually, just a matter of zeros and ones that are literally transferring and crawling and flying all over this planet. All over this planet. But they're not reaching certain parts of the oceans of this planet. Guess we need more satellites to fill those holes too. And when these particular sound waves of words coming from other people are going into you, especially when it has something to do, not just with work, and not just your son and daughter and boyfriends or wives and husbands or grandmas and grandpas or even neighbors. We don't have the science or the understanding of step 1 and step 2 to literally understand that there is a little glitch, that there's a knot, probably a large sailor's knot tied in, that we have to say, "Excuse me, can you repeat, please?" And should find another way to decipher that word. Beautiful CEOs of the planet, not many. But I follow and I try to read of all the beautiful CEOs that are really running these corporations of this world today, because they're very, very important people. And you can easily see the ones that will fall very quickly. And you can see the ones that are so quiet in the world. So important they are, and yet so quiet. It is because they hear well. It is because these particular CEOs, so simple they are, most of them started off as delivering mail in the company, mail in the building, all the way up to the 10th floor, 15th floor, and just delivering mail. And because of their nature, not just of how they walk and how they deliver the letters and all the packages of all maybe coming from all over the world, but it's how the people watched them and observed them walking down the hallways and dropping off the mails and the boxes too. And how it is that they listened, literally listened to the little words and the little signs of everybody that spoke to them, and how they literally interpreted everything that was said to them. Very simple and clear. Not many, but there's very, very few that literally risen from delivering mail, and now they're running large corporations. Call it an attitude if you wish, but it's a lot more than that. An attitude is a very small aspect, a very small part of this. Call it behavior, and even that is a very small part. It's just not behavior and attitude. It's how it is that nervous system in you operates. And how you are able to actually hear without fear, without doubt inside. There's just one particular person I met recently. This person had it was an odd meeting with him. And this person had developed MS late in his life. And he was saying that he had run 50 marathons. And he thought he was the smartest man on the planet. And he thought he was one of the most fit when it comes to physically fit of people on the planet because of how he dealt with himself. Went to great schools, read all the great books, great memory too. Thought he did everything was correct. And all of a sudden he gets slammed with MS. And this man, so loved. But it took 7 years of literally walking with it. A good 7 years that literally broke the dream. Literally broke the dream. Because what he had discovered that he really could not hear people. He was too busy hearing himself. He really couldn't see the world because he was too busy seeing his own world. That very few people could run that many marathons. That he knew that very few people could be that intelligent as him. And MS, it could have driven him to literally walk the other way of anger like so many end up doing, and resentment of the world, what has given to them, call it bad luck. But this particular person turned it completely around. And he realized, he began to see the world around him. Well in his 50s. It took him that long. And the one thing that he paid close attention to that literally driven him into the world of illusion was the art to hear. And his art of hearing became so simple and so profound that in his profession he is greatly admired and respected and actually loved in many ways because he is hearing, literally hearing all the people that come to him and all the people that are working in his field. But forced to. Literally forced to. And yet he still literally had the finger, the right index or the left index finger to decide what direction to go. To be angry, or let's see what all this is all about. You see, most people are never really forced to go into these situations. Most people kind of bypass the heartache. Most people literally bypass very intense illnesses inside. And we only read about them, or we know about them, or they're our friends or fathers or whatever. So we call, let's say, most of us fortunate. And that is good. But the one thing about human beings, they usually have to be forced. And that's the one thing I even know of myself too. And we have to ask why? 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 Does it take a great impact? Why? A tremendous disappointment. Why? Simply because we haven't paid any really close attention or don't understand really what conditioning is. Because too many days easily go by. We're too successful of so many days of our lives. That's why. Quite invisible actually to capture. And yet it's there. It is not the Sundays that I will really learn anything, and I know that. It's not my good days. It is the days of frustration and trying The days that literally squeeze me. But I've learned to use the frustration and the squeezing to create a leap, a quantum leap as much as possible. Because we're literally held down here with gravity. And when people don't pay any attention to gravity and what it is, we just think we just live the day and that you're going to be walking on the planet for the rest of your life. And actually, one day, gravity has to let you go. Quite a force it is. And these two really great, great forces, not just gravity, but sound. The Finnish and the French, the Swiss, the American, the Indian. How it has literally created so many traditions. And yet one day, yet one moment, the essence of sound, you will find yourself riding like on a magic carpet. At the essence of sound, you will find yourself like riding a beautiful horse. For the sound wave is literally you within yourself. And to ride a beautiful sound wave that is so clear, not corrupt, not distorted, not tied up in sailor's knots, but sound waves that are so crystal clear like a beautiful song. And we know the differences between beautiful people with beautiful voices and those that do not. How it can literally dive us right into our heart and even draw tears so quickly. Because the words that emanate out of those lips, so crystal clear, without a knot. But when there's an immense amount of knots and debris tied all around it, it cannot get into our hearts. You're going to have to try again. You're going to have to sing that again. You're going to have to go back and literally maybe take a few showers in your mind before and then try it. Let's see if you can get into my heart once again. And we cannot do this with our minds. We can only do it with our hearts. And it's just not having the art of listening to human beings. For to develop this art within itself, you definitely want to hear the birds that literally sing in the morning very quickly, immediately, to catch their voice. You want to be able to literally have the art of hearing, to hear no matter what children is about. Because so crystal clear their voices are, and so many adults they're not. So you tune yourself to where the easy, the beauty, and the clarity, the innocent, and not just the adults. And the winds, no doubt, to tune yourself to literally hear the winds. Whenever they're rustling the trees, going around buildings, and even brushing through your hair, that you tune your ears for that. And very, very slowly, the knots that we have literally tied ourselves in. Because so many words we have heard under arguments, under anger, inside, externally, and internally, they have literally corrupted us because they're tied with pain and disappointment. So much pain and disappointment so much of our vocabulary is based on. And there's nothing more than taking a beautiful shower after days of not showering and bathing, and to literally feel the difference inside. The one thing that I've learned from you white people that is so important, so important, and this I am really grateful for you for, and that is maintenance. What maintenance really does and how important it is, because there was something missing in the culture that I was raised in, and that was maintenance. There was a beauty, but there was something wrong. There was no maintenance. And starting to put the act of gravity together and living on a planet that is really corrosive. Oxygen is really corrosive. And to be able to, not just for dignity's sake, and not just to live in the year 2009, because there's so many unforeseen forces like bacteria and viruses running about. And yes, we think we have eliminated so many superstitions, and yet the earth is still flat. For billions of people, in their mind's eye, the earth is still flat. With attitude and philosophy. And when I watch the maintenance that you have literally created to keep the trains, the airplanes, and the buses, and to open up the doors going into your office buildings and such, how important that is. And the maintenance of that young mailman, actually at a teenage years, delivering packages and mail throughout the building. And how that person still smiles and listens, not just to cohorts and not just to other CEOs or giving interviews in beautiful magazines and newspapers, but listens to ordinary people and has the ear to listen to the birds and the children too. And you can see that. And that's basically all that we need to do, is understand the maintenance of not just your automobiles and flats, keeping your bathtub clean and your shower stalls, and even your teeth. And it's just not putting a Q-tip in your ear to clean the wax out. But due to the art of sound, the beauty of sound, and the waves that it creates, the beautiful, beautiful waves. And how we can speak with such beauty of a wave like and a magic carpet, and easily change the waves from a child to, let's say, a grown-up. And to look to see who in the world I am standing in front of. And what is the mentality of this person that I am standing in front of? Did this person approach me with anger and resentment, or with open eyes? Does this person easily paint everybody else but themselves? Who in the world am I standing in front of? And that is maintenance. But when we use only our minds to decipher this world, All what it is plastic, silver, and gold. All it is are just walls without blood. To look at people with your heart, how the sound waves will easily change their course. To look to see who is standing in you, and to literally see what is the potential of this person, not how bad they are, but to literally see the potential that's inside. Because most people have been marked off. They have been criticized, or they have blown up their head like big helium balloons with an ego that somehow they don't even know. Big, big, fat head. But because of the heart that you have, and you all have the ability of your heart to literally see what is the potential standing in front of me. That this person will start to see you're not painting them. You're looking to see so long ago, the DNA was put together. So long ago. So many hundreds and thousands of generations of warriors. So many mothers and grandmothers. So many days and years and centuries and millenniums is inside of you. You cannot think of yourself in the year of 2009. What a stupid game that is. It's cruel to do that to us. It is not 2009. For I don't even know really how old or what day is it today. What year is it really? For it is millions of years. I don't see you, I don't see myself as old. I see ourselves as ancient. I don't see ourselves as somebody new. We have new buildings, new automobiles, new ties, new clothes, no doubt. New toothbrushes too. But everybody that walks on this earth, even the fishes and spiders and the birds too, when you literally see and dive into what is the history of the DNA, it is ancient. And this draws respect. This literally draws respect of all biological creatures inside. And this starts to literally fine-tune our brain inside. And to literally use these ancient brains inside, these very primitive brains inside, so small but yet so cute, they are still. They still operate inside. To hear the ancientness out of the young ones of 7 years of age and the old ones of the age of 99. We start to hear and see people differently when we see this. There's been almost, I think, either 21 or 23 real civilizations that have existed that we know today. That's all. And they all have disappeared. And yet, human beings are still walking the earth, but they haven't changed one bit. We still steal from each other. We still rob from each other. We still hurt each other. We still wage war. We still kill. We still love each other and hate each other still. We still cry. We still laugh. We still love parties. We still love to sit around campfires and tell stories. We still find ourselves lost and found. And we still find ourselves with new discoveries right and left. But we haven't changed one iota, not one letter. It is because how ancient we are inside. And then we start to literally fine-tune, activate the little primordial brains inside of us to hear the words and thoughts and feelings of those amongst us. We start to use these eyes of ours and sight and sound and to literally pay attention not just to us that we think we are the conquerors of this planet, but we have the ability to literally feel and sense and know and pay attention to the fishes of the sea. They are just as important as you and all the other little creatures too. That it tells us where we stand, the young little teenage mailman delivering letters and packages throughout all the floors in the building. You see, the building, that same building that mailman has been delivering, is really this earth. And the joy of not just delivering well-designed envelopes and packages, well-sealed, but what you see and touch with your eyes and the tenderness that your hands and fingers can touch this world with. We are all male people. We all deliver little messages to everything that we see with our eyes and all that we touch. I know they are transferred as impulses the minute we touch something, but we are not just impulses. We have literally been put together, and we can see beautiful, beautiful movies inside. And yet, what one touch can do. How the beautiful sun delivers its mail throughout the day with its light. and the mailman of the moon delivering its mail of moonlight. And the wind delivering its mail. Sometimes great forces of wind, and sometimes the gentleness. So while your days are good and your health is good and you're not forced to look into another direction, think about what it is to really to hear and the art of hearing. And you will find yourself speaking less and less and less. And when people speak to you, you can literally hear the ancientness. And they may be saying something very different with their words, but deep inside they're speaking to you. And they don't know how to draw those words out. That is a good parent. That is a good grandma and grandpa. That is a good lover. That is a good friend. In the back of comic books, they were selling these little like a little radar, and had a microphone that you could hear everything 50 feet away, 100 feet away. And we always ordered one when we had the money and listened to it so much. And how magical that is to be able to hear. And then to put that on an insect walking on the ground, and to be able to literally want to hear their footsteps as much as possible. And to have the passion for that. And the worlds that can literally dive you into. the beautiful, beautiful worlds. Our DNA has been put together by funguses and all sorts of creatures too. Very, very little is human. And yet I can still understand why we can still act very much like an animal so easily in this world. So I speak to you, ancientness, that has literally put us together. And what year it is, I have no idea, but there's a lot of years in there. And how we start to look through these eyes becomes very, very different. Even looking at the mountains and hills. And to think of all the other people that have had enough time to lie down on the earth and watch the clouds. To lie down on the earth and literally watch the stars at night. And I wonder, after so many nights, if your name that people call you by will no longer make sense. It is then that the ancientness is starting to break through. When your name is starting not to make any more sense to you, then you know the ancientness is breaking through the ice. And how fearful that can be. But when one looks back, especially the mothers and fathers, and if you can remember, all children are born without fear and doubt. born with open eyes. And that is how we should leave this planet. To literally pass away alive and not dead. And you even have to leave your name behind. You cannot even take that. So I would say, to break through the bubble of the economy that has literally blinded us, to literally see how ancient our planet is, how ancient your continent or island is. And human beings have endured thousands, tens of thousands of generations, and yet we have not changed one bit. And I think we all know technology does not make us happier. We have found out that our mind can't even do that either, for the mind has no blood. As it is for steel and paper, shiny things, not even buildings. And that's why when you fine-tune those beautiful little brains of yours, and not just the upper cerebral brain that sits way up on top, you begin to notice the little ones, that the insects really do count, and you think of them too. You think of all the little creatures too. You think of the big birds and the little birds too. Not just on your continent too. And we start to touch so much more inside of us. For we're put together by an extreme complex, not just of proteins and amino acids, but we can literally touch this world, touch this whole planet in such a way it cannot be written in books. My wish is that the fire dance continues after I leave. But the fear of fire that literally resides in your mind is literally the fear of your own self. It is the fear of gravity. It is literally the fear of floating out in space, for you have no idea where you are in space. The fear of losing your name. To baptize, for how easy it is to baptize with water, or even the breath, but to baptize with fire. For your bones knows fire. And the very depth of you too. And how we keep it abreast just to keep us warm enough. But it's really the fire of love that we fear the most. For it is then that we have to literally walk out of the caves of not just guilt and doubt, and not just shame, but it's literally a love that is always wrapped around us, no matter where we are. It is a love of no age. So ancient it is. But the flowers know it. And sometimes we can see it in the rainbow. And sometimes we can see it even in a child. And sometimes we can even feel it within ourselves. We have scorned and hated and doubted and harmed. And then to love them. And the fear of losing our memories, how we have been relying on our memories so. And yet that is only due to our minds. You have nothing to lose, actually. Only concepts. You have nothing to lose, actually. Only concepts and ideas. And well-designed labels that you have invested in, that has given you a sense of your pride and your accomplishments. You have already been born. You have already been given all. A planet to walk around on, air to breathe, and enough food to subsist yourself for days, weeks, months, and hopefully years. You haven't been giving enough air. Just take care of it. And like with a sigh, you can rest. Like with a sigh, you can rest in yourself. That what has put you together, not your mother and father, biological, you will know where that sigh goes to. Beautiful ancient people. Beautiful ancient people. So understand, the 60-story building that the mailman delivers the mail, envelopes and packages, and be a good mailman throughout the day. Be the mailman of everything throughout the day. To hear all the sounds so fresh every day is. And one day the CEO shows its face, a mind that is awake, a heart that is open. Yo ho ho. Yo ho ho. Yo ho ho. Naete ha ha. Peace to your mind. Naete peace to your hearts. And peace to your life. Let's dance.